Last episode, it was my first time where I had a suggestion for a demo. That person gave me another suggestion that I'll be getting to in my following episode. Today, though, I'll be getting my feet wet into a new type of pre-release. I will save that for my second entry today. I started off playing Ruboto after watching the release date trailer and being so enthralled by it. It uses so many different visual styles, from pixel art to low poly 3D graphics to hand-drawn anime-like pictures. It was jarring to see such a dramatic change, but in a good way. It got me invested in whatever the heck I was watching. For starters, the game is hilarious in both its premise and its writing. The year is 12012, and you are always worried about the omnipresent space police. That is until one of the members of your team, Tony, buys a cheap set of pool balls. Those pool balls happen to be the planets of the Milky Way galaxy, and he has destroyed all of them. You can play as a frog member of the team who acts as the hero of the stars and galaxy. Continuing with the premise, the team never really acknowledges you as a frog, but speaks to you like you're just a normal part of the team. The only time Ruboto speaks is to himself. The basis of the game is a collectathon 2D platformer. Ruboto navigates around levels where he can find hidden planet bits. Tony breaks the fourth wall and says that if you find enough planet bits, you'll level up and gain more health points like in an RPG. Where the game adapts the differing visual styles is when different characters provide their perspective to what they think happens. The hidden main villain uses the low poly 3D when monologuing. The overworld map, when choosing levels as Ruboto, is Mode 7 graphics, like F-Zero on the SNES. Bernie describes what they think is happening through pixelated images that look like they were first drawn with crayons. When platforming, Ruboto uses their tongue to swing about and reach new areas. But that platforming isn't the only fun part. There are racing minigames that use the same controls but keep the racing on a 2D perspective. Not a normal thing from a car racing game, but kind of addicting. In the demo, once it tells you that you're all finished, you shut down the game and organize your thoughts. That's what usually happens with demos, but not here. At the end, an in-game email was sent by Decon, the developer, that the demo was finished after years of hard work. I still felt the urge to go on, even after he had said that. I mentioned earlier that the platforming wasn't the only fun part. After you beat the first boss, they give you a rocket launcher that you can use to explore more parts of the single level. And I have to say, there is way more stuff to find in that one level than I expected. It's hard to believe Ruboto was a Kickstarter game. I realized that when I found an NPC that was a reward to a backer. It was a 2022 game that you could pledge for. I was still in my early days of making content and exploring games again. If I were to see the Kickstarter page today, I would be so confused and invested in what Decon was making. You don't have to wait long until it hits PlayStation 5, Switch, Xbox One, and Steam with a release date of March 20th. For the first time in my series, I'm talking about a playtest. Here, I'm talking about the playtest for the upcoming game from TinyBuild, ReStory Chill Electronics Repairs. It is set in a mid-2000s repair shop for electronics in the era. It has some cool character engagement, nice gameplay of repairing and assembling items you are fixing, some story management as you have to pay bits for your store, and some cultural aspects to Tokyo. As for specifics, I love that you're repairing things that were common in the time period, both official and unofficial. You get jobs focused on game consoles that look a lot like the PSP or cell phones that look so similar to the Motorola Razr. Officially, you are cleaning some actual licensed Atari consoles and accessories. For some of the unofficial items, you are repairing handheld toys like Tamagotchis that act as advertisements for Tiny Build's other games. Like the modern classic power washing sim, this puts you in the position of feeling productive without the stress of timelines, breaking others' items, and doing something that would be so difficult. When I think of fixing and reassembling goods that I have no idea how to repair, my mind went to Uncle Chop's Rocket Shop. It is a game that I have a lot of respect for, but admit it was not for me because of the game's fictional manuals that you have to use. ReStory keeps it incredibly simple. When you pick up a piece, the object you're repairing will show the piece's outline. When you pick up a piece, the object you're needing to repair will show the piece's outline if it is indeed one you can place next. If it needs cleaned, there is a little circle in the top right of the screen where it visually tells you that it needs cleaned. And if it's junk or it's not working, the trash can scrolls up to you so you can easily just toss it in there. A small piece I will be critical of it is that for the majority of my play, to fix items, you just give it a nice little clean and it is good to get back to the customer. There were a few situations where you had to go online and buy a duplicate item for parts, but it leaves out the use of the soldering iron that tends to be a common tool for fixing electronics. But I am nitpicking here. This game is not trying to be 100% realistic. Games in the cozy side of things aren't meant to be. Look back at Power Washing Sim. You don't just walk up to something that needs cleaned and blast it with pressurized water to get you as clean as you want it in real life. You use rags and wax to buff out those details you might have missed. Like I said before, if I spent more time in the manual than actually working on electronics, then I would have been miserable. If you like Zen games about doing real-life tasks electronically, then ReStory might be high on your list of games to watch for. For my last demo, I tried out one that John from Gaming in the Wild plugged. It is for PinKeep, the upcoming game from Automotive, a studio I personally am not familiar with. PinKeep is a riff on pinball, which I am always one to look at. I am bad at pinball, but I always enjoy the looks on it. I think of Kirby's Pinball Land and Yoku's Island Express as ones that I really like. PinKeep is around the core of pinball with roguelite elements and some base building functions. When you hit the ball, it gathers resources, activates buildings you have built, and attacks baddies coming for your castle. One big thing that makes the game unique is the controls. Like a PC first-person shooter, your left hand hits the keys and your right hand hits the mouse. With the keys, that is the way you use the traditional pinball controls. With the mouse, you can slow the ball down, launch it in any direction with the cooldown, or click on cards that you have added in the roguelite part of games. When hovering over a card, all in-game action stops, so you aren't on a time crunch to pick anything. It just felt really unique because most of the time when you have pinball style like flippers, your left and right hands are the ones controlling those flippers instead of two fingers on one hand. All in all, PinKeep is a nice little demo to let you see if it is something you're interested in when it launches into early access. I'm still uncertain if I will be getting it, but it's worth me and others keeping on their radar for future release.